All right, this is a treat. We have Ari on today. It's October 21st. Really great things obviously have been happening. At the same time, our prayer continues and is needed for the complete disarmament of Hamas, as we know, and healing for the nation. But Lord, thank you. We want to thank you for what has been done. We want to thank you for what you're doing. We want to thank you so much for Ari and keeping his family safe during this war too, and continue to keep them all safe. So Lord, come, break in, lead us. Ari, do what you feel to say, but I loved your, I always love your blogs, by the way, and everybody. I'll put in the chat how to sign up for them on USIEA. You mentioned Zarit, the northern town, that there's quite a
Eat.
difference. Zarit, there's quite a difference. Just speak into that for one moment and then go into whatever you feel to. One moment between the difference between the northern border taking out Hezbollah, but still yet having to deal with Hamas. Just your thoughts and tell us how your
Sure.
family is, because we pray for them too. Thank you.
Family's all good, thank God. I have two sons that are in the army. I mentioned in my blog. Um, they are both in the north. They've both been in the north since the beginning of the war. They on and off when they're in reserve duty. They're in reserve duty in the north. And what is amazing is how the north has changed, not only since October the 7th, but since before October the 7th. Before October the 7th, Hezbollah, which you'll recall is a group of Iranian support, it was really Iran's, it was their crack proxy. I mean, they were going to do the damage to Israel. We weren't allowed to hit Iran because Hezbollah was going to respond. So Hezbollah had tunnels, they had underground parking lots that were filled with rockets, with munitions. They had tunnels that came right up to the border fence. In fact, they had tunnels that went under the border fence and came into Israel until we discovered them. But they were fully capable of doing exactly what Hamas did, which is get out of a tunnel, get right up to the border fence, and blow it open before we have a chance to stop them. And then they just go in and flood the north and have something similar, God forbid, to what happened in October the 7th. Fast forward to October the 6th, these wonderful people had a tent and they put up a tent in a disputed area, which is right on the border. And it was right next to the fence. And Israel, being the tough nation that we are, didn't do anything. Nothing. We just let them sit there. And that was such a display of impotence, a display of weakness that Hezbollah took this as a sign that we are a paper tiger. Now, fast forward, compared to the last time my son was there, or the two times before. The first time he was there, around October the 8th, they were worried their number one problem was sniper fire. And it was also mortar fire, because mortars go about 2, 3 kilometers, about a mile or two. And they're less than a mile from the border. And so is Hezbollah, less than a mile from the border on the other side. And they would have to be very, very close to at all times to a bomb shelter. And even when they were close to a bomb shelter, you still can't run away from a mortar that has a 5 second time before it gets to you. And that was the first time. He came back again. And when he went up again the second time, Hezbollah had moved away from the fence. Israel had been bombing around the fence. We were dropping all sorts of things that burn in order to get rid of all of the foliage in which they were hiding. And the new problem, the new things they had to worry about were killer drones, suicide drones, and also anti-tank missiles that were guided anti-tank missiles that were based on the anti-tank missiles that I am working on today. And not only is it based on it, but it's the same thing. When 2006, we left one in Lebanon. We were using it. We left one in Lebanon. We had to run away, and they took it. Hezbollah took it, brought it to Iran, where they it apart and put it back together again, and they made an Iranian version of it, and they had to worry about that. Then they went into Lebanon and they completely destroyed the first 2 or 3 kilometers in Lebanon. Hezbollah moved way back because they understood that they had no reason to be in the front because they had no munitions. We took out most of their rockets and their launchers, such that they really had to pull back. And then we started bombing the Dakhia and Beirut and killing everybody, and decapitating their leadership. And what they had to worry about then was something completely different. They had to worry about hand-to-hand combat in Lebanese towns. During that entire time, from October the 7th until October, end of November 24, we'll call it November 24th, 2024, nobody lived in Zarit. Zarit was a ghost town. People would go up periodically to tend to their. It's an agricultural town, so they would tend to their animals. And there were people who, in cities not necessarily Zarit, but in cities like Zarit, they went back home and they got killed. Either they took a rocket, they took a missile, sniper fire took them out. It was dangerous to go back home. And typically, when you went home, your house had bullet holes in it. Some houses had anti-tank missiles that were fired at it because Israeli soldiers were holed out in those houses. And 60,000 people left the north of Israel. It's pretty much the entire north of Israel. And some people say 80,000. It's a very strange number because people kept going back and forth. But there were close to 100,000 people who left home. And Hassan Nasrallah, the head of the Secretary General of Hezbollah, said, "You will go home when I say you can go home." And I thought that he's probably right because I see no way in the world that we can dislodge Hezbollah, and then the Operation Grim Beeper, and then a week later, the situation has completely changed. That was a war we had prepared for, and we put our pedal to the metal on September the 20th, and then from then on. It was just, well, actually December the 18th. And from then on, we took everybody out. We took out Hezbollah. And people began to move home tentatively at first, but then with a greater fervor later. In fact, one of the most beautiful things that we did, in high tech, you have bonding and you go and you do things and it's togetherness and yada, 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 kumbaya. And I hate these things. I'd rather be in my office working. But we do these sorts of things. And what we did last year, it was like last year in Feb. 2025 in Feb, and we went to Kiryat Shmona, which is the biggest town in the north. It's a town of about 25,000 people that was nearly completely evacuated. And as an aside, we brought the mayor of Kiryat Shmona, USIEA. We brought the mayor of Kiryat Shmona to brief the congressmen who were in Israel that summer for a tour, and he just blew them away, trying to understand how to run a town when nobody lives in the town, but you still have to run the town because you're running the people that live in the town. Um, and we went into Kiryat Shmona, and everybody got a broom and cleaning equipment, and we all went into this 3, 4 story building, which was a general purpose building. It had health clinics in it. It had a gymnasium in it. It had a place where you could have a concert in it. And we went there, and over the course of 2 hours, cleaned the whole thing out. And I got out of there feeling so amazing. We cleaned it out because we're preparing for people to come back. And they came back. Holy macaroni. They all came back. About 90 to 95% of the people came back. That and more. Zarit was a town that was, the people that lived there were on the whole non-observant, and a group of 9 observant families from the center of the country, from Lud, decided to take their families and move up to Zarit. And one of the biggest problems in Israel that we had before October the 7th, was there was a void, there was a fissure between the religious and the non-religious. And since October the 7th, we have been trying to repair and build bridges. And these people moved up as part of bridge building. and they were accepted with open arms. These Orthodox families whose women walk around with head coverings and who pray 3 times a day and who see life very, very differently than the people of Zarit. In fact, now I have another daughter who's considering moving up there. I don't know why she should, because it's bloody well in the middle of nowhere. It's like I live in the north and it's an hour and a quarter from me, but holy macaroni, we're back.
Wow.
They said it couldn't be done. We did it. We're back and we're growing. I'm just so happy to be part of it. I think
You
I've
know,
wasted all my time.
no, you haven't, but that is just, it's so good to hear good news, and thank you for that, because that was a big issue was the northern border so close to you. How many times you told us about these attacks. Anyways, I love the grim beeper, by the way. That's funny. Hopefully everybody tracked with that. But can you share, where do you feel we Israel should go from here? So we got Jared Kushner back, got Witkoff back. Like then we have Turkey involved. We have like there's some Qatar, just some interesting players. Like, how do you feel like we should really target our prayers? Obviously, we want Hamas out. Do you have faith for that? What's your gut sense where we go from here, how we pray from here?
Oh, I see things very, very clearly. We have our hostages back. Hamas has lost any source of leverage that they have, and yet they're retaining control, regaining control of the Gaza Strip. What has to be done before any rebuilding can be done, and President Trump has said this many times, as has Prime Minister Netanyahu, that Hamas must disarm and Hamas must give control of Gaza to this other technocratic group or wherever it might be. Hamas has no intention of doing that. It's patently clear, given the amount of force that they are imposing to try to kill people that disagree with them. So, what I believe is going to happen is it'll take a little while, days, weeks, months, until the rest of the Western world understands that Hamas isn't going anywhere and the Hamas has no leverage. And there is no alternative but to go in and finish the job. Like I wrote a number of weeks ago, until Hamas is uprooted, until there is complete surrender, then Hamas will remain. And that's the way it is. Like Pharaoh,
Wow.
correct.
Okay, that's exactly what we're going to keep bringing into. And Ari, I don't know why this is popping into my brain, but what can you tell us what you've seen from drone warfare? Because obviously you're a rocket scientist, and I'm just wondering about the future, or do we like, is there a great manufacturing of drones in Israel? Like, I'm just curious for some reason about
So
drone
as
drones
far
and
as
warfare.
offensive drones go,
Yeah.
we got tons, and we're buying tons, and we're building tons, and the problem is going to be the defending against these drones, and trying to take them out. Taking them out with a missile is it's killing a fly with a ball peen hammer. So it's something you don't want to do, and that is why Israel is spending a lot of money and time and effort on lasers, which just so happens that starting next month I'm moving into that field. So that's going to be the future. We're going to be shooting these things down. In fact, in Eilat, they had problems. Eilat, southern tip of Eilat, my favorite town in Israel, because there's the amount of snorkeling you can do in Jerusalem pales the amount of snorkeling you can do in Eilat. And they were suffering from Houthi weapons, and we just couldn't nail them. They were flying too low, and if Iron Dome would hit it, then it would be catastrophic for anybody near where the explosion was. And there's got to be a better way. And they've officially brought down a laser system called Iron Beam to a lot, and it is shooting down things. So that's the future.
Okay, awesome. Last question. Ari, you were in the synagogue, if I recall, when October 7th happened. That's how you found out about it. I love what you were saying about the observant Jewish people are moving up to the north there. What's your take on the spiritual hunger since all of this in the nation? Like, do you see more spiritual
Huge.
hunger?
Huge. Oh, one of the takeaways from this is that there was a hunger for spirit, and it's just increased. It's increased by orders of magnitude, and it's really a beautiful thing to see. There's more people walking around with kippot. There are more people that are turning to religion. Even people that aren't religious are praying. You look at the songs that are popular on the radio, and so many of them are songs with a religious bent. So yeah, this is something critical. This is something amazing. Israel is really moving ahead.
Ari, you're amazing. We so appreciate you, appreciate the time you've given us, and we're gonna keep praying. We have a USIA and JH Israel combined prayer day on Thursday in Birmingham, and your name will come up. We pray for you and your family. God bless you. So you can stay
So much.
or go.
All right, we'll
Whatever
catch
you
you
want
guys
to do.
later. All the best.
Thanks a million.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.